And I want to dig into what Becoming Bride is. And so, Becoming Bride is an online course, but it's also a sisterhood that's a little bit different if you have joined any other sisterhood, or whether it be Fix Your Focus or Rise Daughters. Becoming Bride is a little bit different because it is specially curated for women of God who are not just called to be a wife, but they're called to be a bride, and they know that. And we're going to start with being the bride of Christ. Being the bride of Christ. Now, to know me is to know I love the Word of God. And so if you don't know me, just know I love the Word of God. I will not deviate from the Word of God. And I will not come up with all these different things and concoctions that can help you that are not rooted in the Word of God. And so to become a bride for your husband means that you have to be the bride of Christ first. And so we know the bride of Christ to be the church, right? But you are a part of that church. And a part of becoming bride is learning who Christ is as your bridegroom and who you are as the bride. And so we cannot become bride and become wifey and get that ring without actually knowing what all this entails and what all of it means. I'm going to break that down for you today in Becoming Bride, and then we're going to flow into our first lesson. And so what does it mean to be the bride of Christ? There's various scriptures and verses that talk about being the bride of Christ, but I'm going to sum it up simply here. Being the bride of Christ is having the awareness to lay down your life for him as he has already laid down his life for you. Becoming the bride of Christ means that there is a covenant that has been taking place, that has already taken place in the realm of the spirit, and you're now walking it out in the natural. Becoming the bride of Christ means saying yes to his will, to his way, and to being his bride. And it doesn't mean being the version of you that you want to be, or the version of you that somebody has said that you are, but it is who Christ has called you to be. And so a lot of people are like, I want to know how to be a good wife and X, Y, and Z, but if you're not a good bride to Christ, how can you be a good wife and a good bride to your husband, right? If you're not sitting with God to know your calling and your mantle and your assignments in the earth, then how can you be the wife that you're called to be to your husband if your true identity is lost somewhere in the sand? So to be the bride of Christ means that you're laying down your life because it was bought with a high price. And actually, for your homework in Becoming Bride, as we work on lesson number 1, is going to be to read the book of Hosea. I want you to read the book of Hosea because there's so many nuggets into what it is to be bought with a high price, to be the bride of Christ, to be once a rebellious, adulterous person, child of God, but to be brought back into the Lord's loving kindness. It's really beautiful. And that is going to be your homework, because I need you to grasp and understand what it means to become the bride of Christ.